Okay, Mr. Jim Kerr.
Hello, Mel.
So we're here at your beautiful place here in Savannah, right along the river.
Yes, sir.
And let's see about, I got a few questions and just a little bit about your life and your business and your philosophy and some advice that you could maybe give me and the younger people coming up about life and how to be successful. What's your philosophy on business? Have you got one, or what's just a short answer on that one? I guess it's probably a long answer, but
Well, it's whatever you start, you got to finish.
what you start, you got to finish.
That's right.
Yeah, well, that's a good one.
Whatever you get into, you need to be prepared to go the limit. If you're not being able to put everything into it, you need to get another idea, start something.
A little bit about your career. What did you do in business, in career?
Well, I really got my start as a young man, a young kid, in 4-H club.
In 4-H club.
And what I learned in 4-H club kind of set the pace on everything I've done. I went on to be the state soil conservation runner.
Okay.
I carried my beef cow, a beef calf that we won the grand champion here in Savannah, and I carried him to Nashville, and got beat in the Hereford class. But when they got to the class that had fed and bred on the farm, I was a championship in that, because the other guy had bought his calf somewhere else.
Oh.
So it showed me to just keep on. You might win one thing and lose another, but you keep struggling. So I got involved in that, and after I went on to college at Martin, Pop had a little trouble there at Equilibrium when I pulled out one semester, and was helping him. And I was one of these that they get the paper and I would read the ads and see what was available. And so I kept looking at things, and I answered ad to this one company. It was Gale Brothers, G-E-H-L, out of Wisconsin. I would look, that's not John Deere. Said, that's a small company. I said, well, I still want to see. So he came out and met with me. I talked to him. He said, I'm going to make you a deal. I said, what's that? He said, I'm going to pay you way up to West Bend, Wisconsin, and I'll pay you way back if you don't like it. And said, let you see what our company's like. I said, well, that's fair enough for me, because I never had been to West Bend, Wisconsin. So I took off and went up there. But when I got there, it was snow.
Oh, Wisconsin.
You can just imagine. I got up to go to church one Sunday morning, and I walked down to the restaurant to get a little bite to eat, which is just about less than 2 houses down from where I was staying. And it was so cold, I turned around, I said, I don't even need to eat anything. I'm just going back and getting in bed. Because I Dick Gale, and I said, now Dick, let me tell you, I came up here to look at this factory that you got, and I really intend to go back to college and finish up my college degree. He said, well, let me tell you something, Jim. He said, I'd rather have somebody that can understand what we're talking about in this, and have them, and not have one that just graduated and come in and put their feet up on my desk and tell me how to run my company. And I said, well, I'll try it. I said, I want to see. I went in the factory then that next morning, went on with them, and Dick called me back in the office after I got back. He said, I want to ask you something. Is there anything you can't drive, any kind of tractor you can't operate? I said, well, I don't know, Mr. Gale. I said, I'll try anything. He said, well, these guys that carried you out this time said anything you got on, you could operate and fix the rest of it. So I said, well, that's just, I said, my daddy always told me, if you start a project, you get it ready. So that's what I did. And he said, I'm going to send you out on another mission. So we went down one side of Florida. I was pulling a 4-wheel wagon with an unloading box on it, and a 58 Ford 6-cylinder. And trying to, he knew I wasn't going to go fast with that. Never will forget, Orr Cocker came in. He said, how's it coming, Kerr? I said, well, look, I'm gonna have to go back south. I said, this is not made for me. So Dick called me, and he said, and I never will forget the words. He said, you fluttered out. I said, no, I am fluttered out. I've come here to tell you that I'll work my 2 months that I told you. but I'm going to give you a 2 months notice right now that I'm fixing to go somewhere else. And he said, well, let's not get in a hurry. And about 2 hours he came back in and said, what I want you to do, you're going to have 2/3 of Arkansas, half of Alabama, and all but 6 counties in Mississippi, and you're still going to have to live in Tennessee. I said, well, that'll work. At least I get back to the South. And so he sent me up, and I did that for a year and a half. 2 days when Mr. Reed called me. He said, Jim, you were supposed to come by here and have a talk with me on this thing. I said, Mr. Reed? I said, I can't work with Bill Vernon. I said, he's too flashy and too much going in the car business. I said, I've got to do. He said, we got other places here. He said, you come on and talk to me. And I went back and he said, I'm going to put you in the used car department. I said, well, I'll try it. So I don't have a problem still with that right there. He said, Mr. Reed wants me to get you to try it. And I tried it. Well, in a few more minutes, here come the man that I'd kind of, I guess, stashed a little bit too. Didn't want to. He's flashy. He had cufflinks on his coat and had his diamonds on there and everything else. And it just wasn't for me. And he said, I want to know what's wrong with you and me. I said, Bill, I'm an old farm boy. I said I spread manure and got it thrown all over me there. And I said, I don't want none of yours. I said, well, I'm here selling cars. Now, that's pretty stout for a young boy to come in and tell somebody that. But anyway, he said, well, I'll do better if you'll just come and try it. And I said, well, that'll be fine. I tried it. Long story short, it worked on out, and I had a good career there and stayed there with him about 6 years. And so then Dad was the Farm Bureau agent here in Hardin County for 17 years, and he was just a part-time agent. Right. And we was farming across the river over here, and somebody come in up the office, want to buy some insurance. They say, well, Hubert's over there in the field, go over and get him and come back and we'll fix it up. And they'd go over and he'd stop the tractor and go back to the office over here, which is over where the new law office is going to be of Jones and, well, I can't think of the boy's name right now, but anyway, the new ones, they're down there right across from Courier. Mm-hmm. And we'd come back and he'd out there. Well, Farm Bureau wanted to get somebody full time and just doing insurance, and they called me and made an offer. And I came over here and talked to him that day, and I came back and served here for 37 years in his Farm Bureau.
37 years as Farm Bureau agent here.
Mm-hmm. And we made a lot of progress in Farm Bureau and growed a lot after I came here. So it just kept building up on what I got involved in. It was a nice regard. Served time there and got back out, and the part was, just weekend warrior, what I call it, I guess. And anyway, we made some changes in Farm Bureau and kind of changed the offices, and they did a lot of improvements there. But I got highly involved in the JCs here, and we started a lot of stuff to help the community with the parade. Right. Different things we were involved in. And
talking about the success in the community, or you've seen a lot of changes, I guess, in the community here in Savannah, and some of them good, and I guess some of them you could say maybe not as good. But what as far as the community, the changes you've seen, and what's caused or what's happened that's made it successful, Savannah, it's got a good downtown and things like that. But is there anything that you could
well, I think that their leadership on the county side and the city side, both, we've made a big improvement there, and they got interested in other things that was more than what they'd been doing. And
the question, there's a question about community, about what do you want to accomplish with the rest of your life in the community, as far as community service or community. What's your goals? You still got a lot of stuff to do, I'm sure.
Well, one of the things that when I was in the JCs in Memphis, I was chairman of the Christmas orphans trip down to I forgot the Lowenstein's store, I guess it was. And we went over there to pick those kids up, and they filled up my car because I was on the lead there, and I had to get about half dozen of them out. They thought they wasn't going to be able to see it if you didn't all get in the first car. And we carried them down. After I went down there and saw that, and saw the way that they reacted to these moving figures and all, and Christmas stuff, I said, one of these days I'm going to get something like that for Savannah. And long story short, after I got back here, I found out that the carnival bunch in Memphis was not going to have Christmas that particular year. And I had my sister to call this fellow that she knew that was chairman of that thing. He said, well, we're not going to have it right now, but we're not going to do anything with the floats right now. And I guess 6 weeks later, I saw where they decided they was going to have it and do it in trolley cars. So I called him again. I said, look, what y'all going to do? And he said, I'll tell you what you do. Said, you be here at 10 o'clock in the morning, and said, I'll take care of you. And so we got 6 trailers, trucks, and headed to Memphis. Got over there and went through this warehouse, and beautiful floats, you know, nothing like Savannah had ever seen, really. And I really went over and tried to rent one, but then after he got over and they wasn't doing it, he gave them to us, and we got them all over here, and we still use some. And one lady said she couldn't get her kids to bed without going out there and looking at all that.
Without going by and taking them.
And I still have people comment on that one, and we're going to get them set up. And we've done a little improvement with some of them. We bought some new stuff, and but we ended up with one of the best Christmas parades Savannah's ever had when we was in JC's. I think at one time we had 5 bands come in here, and plus all the floats that we had. And one of the things that we started out with is all the floats basically didn't have the lights on them. And we started getting generators and rigging them up to have lights on there. Now, if you go to the Christmas parade, most of them have their generators, and it gives a much better thing.
Yeah,
so I tell people when I get out, I said, there is another Savannah. You know, because everybody's thinking about Savannah, Georgia, and I said, you got to come see Savannah, Tennessee. So,
yeah.
Anyway, I'm involved in a lot of stuff and enjoy doing it, and be 85 this next week. So I'm slowing.
85. You're still doing well.
Still slowing down a little bit, but.
That had a major impact on you? Is anything that you can remember? Because I guess that had a major impact on your life.
Well, I started out with 4-H club and it just kept going, going.
And that's where, I guess that had an impact.
Got you started in leadership.
Leadership, the 4-H leadership.
Right. I've got into another deal with. I've got a book that I've put together. It's the 3rd book that I've done, and this is my last one because it's
your last one now.
I'm not going into it anymore, but anyway, this book here covers several things. And this particular book had the picture of the different boats that we had that hit this river, and we see a lot of boats. Things. But on this thing, I've got 200 something pictures in here, and what I call this a coffee table book because it's got so many pictures, and it you've got pictures about the NASA boat in here, and it's really amazing for me to see what that is.
What goes down up and down the river?
Because
you have a beautiful view of the river here at the Sheltering Tree Ranch.
So we decided that what we would do is make a little contribution to them where they can have some more funds there, and they do a lot of fundraising anyway. So I've given 200 of these books to Sheltering Tree, and they're selling $75 a piece. And I told Burris when I was talking to him, I said, Dave, when you start this and you see these kids right here, that they get 4 hours, maybe 6 hours, or out of their home, but they're in school out there, and that gives their parents 4 to 6 hours to do what they want to do without these kids. I said, but then you find out that these kids will not be going to school. They'll not have an annual. And I said, so I'm going to fix this thing here, a lot of pictures of kids in there where it looks kind of like an annual.
Like your school annual or something.
School annual. And in this thing, look, folks, we're blessed to have the school system we got here. And in this book, we got the ones that you got you got the fishing boys, fishing tournaments. You got the hitman that they're going statewide, and then one national. You got the bowling team, the boys and the girls.
Yeah.
And they've gone on.
They're a dynasty here.
They're a dynasty, and others, and we've got to be happy to see what the kids are doing here in our own county, because it's so I've got a lot of pictures of them in here too, and I support a lot of youth stuff, and it's just a good omen for me to have something to be involved in like that. But, Becky and I celebrated 50 years of marriage, and we've got a lot to be thankful for, and it's this is her mom and dad's home. And
message, or if you could leave a message for future generations, what would that be?
Don't be afraid to get involved.
Don't be afraid to get involved, and involved in your community,
anything.
your work, your
church,
your
whatever you got, and just like the Shelton Tree, they got a good restaurant part out there. Go out there and get you a sandwich, and just
Right.
see what those kids, how they're trying to make their lives better. But it's you got to get involved and stuff. And
anything you wish you would have accomplished that you haven't in your life?
well, really, you look back and you see some things that might have stumped your toe on, and you should have done better. But after seeing what I was able to go into and keep going, I'm proud of the route that I took. I really am, and I encourage other people to, to try to be solid and take their routes. I just
do you have a philosophy on life?
well, the only thing is just be fair and tell the truth and get involved.
Be fair, and that's a good, just short. Be fair and tell the truth, and
Right.
I guess and
just
treat people right.
We just had this tornado, and a guy came up to me and he said, "Well, Kerr, I've had my insurance with you 29 years," and says they did exactly what you said they was going to do. Said I'm satisfied with it. It's just another one. I was in Walmart this week. Lady come up to me and said, "You don't remember me?" I said, "Well, probably don't, but I'd like to know your name." And she told me her name. She said, "My daddy bought me a car," and said, came straight to the Farm Bureau and insured that car, and said, "I've had insurance with you ever since." Well,
So, any funny stories or anything on 37 years of
well, there's a lot of them. I guess one that kind of stands out with me. My dad was farming on the other side of the river here, and with all this equipment, we had to block the old bridge every time.
When you went across with the narrow bridge.
So Dad called. I came up here to the bridge and I blocked it, and he was bringing all the stuff out of the bottom. You can just imagine we had 2 or 3 trucks and tractors and combines and everything coming out, and I had it blocked. And they had Archie Gamble's store still at the end of the bridge down here on the left hand side, and then somebody put the blinker on. They wanted to go in the store, so I let them come on. There's another one right behind him. He put his blinker on, and I thought he's going to the store too. But just as he got past me, he shot up on that bridge, and I hollered Daddy on the radio. I said, "Some fool's coming after you." I said, he said, "He going to turn around. There's no way we can back up." So I saw a highway patrol in the line down there, and I asked him to put his lights on, pull on up, and he did. I told him what the situation was. And so he got this man to back on off, and they pulled off the side of the road. And after he got all his equipment through, he came over to me and said, I can't write him a ticket. I said, "I didn't mean for you to write him a ticket. I just wanted you to get him off of the bridge where we can get this stuff through town." He said, "Jim, he told me he was dreading crossing that bridge. And he thought if he got a run and go, he could make it." He said, "I believe you're going to have to drive his car and let him ride with me, and let's put him on the other side of the bridge." So, there's a lot of funny stories that come out, but it's.
Is there anything else you want to share, or if you have any other notes there? I didn't necessarily get every single one of the questions, but I may have missed some.
I think I've had a good life.
Well,
I think I've had a good life.
And that finish what you start, and treat people fair.
That's right.
And
well, my dad had a good thing. He said, "Son, work a half a day every day, and when you get your 12 hours in, you can quit." He said, "There's nobody can make a make a living on 4 hours, and everybody thinks they work a half a day at 4 hours now, and that won't work. So,
So your dad's half a day was 12 hours.
12 hours, that's right.
Well, that's a half a day.
That's a half a day is what it is.
Yep.
Well, thank you for
Well, thank you
Coming out
for allowing me to do this. I'm gonna wrap it up, and